these cliffhangers need to stop. Like, they need to stop. Like, 2 chapters ago, or 3 chapters ago, we don't know if the children are going to leave alive out of this, like, big plant thing that wants to eat them. Then we go into this demonic hound that's just straight up coming out of the ground about to devour these children. And then in this chapter now, the people have been pursuing them. The demons are finally here. They've arrived, and we have a cliffhanger like that. Like, oh my god, like, this series is killing me. Like, it's killing me. Like, it's killing me with these cliffhangers right now, because when I get into a manga and I'm reading the chapters and all that, a good chapter, honestly, may only last a minute or two. Like, if you're really just reading it, and you can reread it all you want, but there's no more content until next week, and I'm like, fuck. Like, fuck. Like, fuck. Like, it really sucks, because when you're into something, you can't just continue reading it, usually if you're caught up, because, yeah, there's just no more content, and that's one thing that sucks. When you find a good series and you love reading it or watching it, whatever, and there's just no more content, it sucks waiting. It really does. I mean, it could be a lot worse. I mean, we could have that, Hunter x Hunter Berserk type treatment, but I mean, still, it just sucks having to wait for a new chapter, because these cliffhangers are, man, they're a big middle finger every single week. The middle finger that the writer gives us every single week is just insane. But anyways, though, with all of that said, me being upset with the cliffhangers constantly, let's talk about one of the big things that were implied with this chapter, and that is the fact that there is different types of demons, or in this case, demons that probably have a higher intelligence because they evolved differently. Now, one of the big things that I've been trying to nail in is the fact we don't know if this world that the children are on is Earth or another place. We have no idea, and we don't know exactly what year it is, so it could be thousands of years in the future where the entire world has just shifted in the entire ecosystem. So we don't exactly know details or whatever, but we do know something's changed because of the creatures that are wandering around, or the plants, or whatever's going on in this world. So the big thing that we can get from this chapter is that there is demons that are considered beasts or animals or part of the wildlife, or so to say. Like, let's just say monkeys, okay? Let's think about orangutans or gorillas and stuff, and then we think about us. Like, gorillas and orangutans, they're very similar to humanity. They really are. And because of that, maybe that's how these demons are. They're like a subspecies of, their other demons. That's basically what these demons are. They're like a subspecies of the demons we have seen in the orphanage, and they have evolved, and that's why they're very intelligent. But there's another thing you can kind of gather from this chapter that we all need to pay attention to, and that is the fact that we got to think about what the demons have been wanting, what they want to consume, and that is the brains, or, the bodies of humanity. They want to eat people, basically. And what's to say the reason why that these creatures have evolved so much is because they're eating people. They probably consume their brain, and when they do that, in turn, they gain knowledge and they get smarter. That might be a possibility. What if these demons, the reason why they want to eat these children, these very smart children, is not because they just want to eat them because they taste good? That could be part of it, obviously. But it could be because they want to grow more in terms of intelligence. And so that could be the possibility of what is being set up here. For instance, that could be the reason why the demons want to eat the kids so much, is because once they eat them, they get smarter, and their species can continuously evolve and grow in strength. And that could be the reason why there's a distinct difference between this, demon out in the wilderness that obviously was just more like an animal than anything else, compared to, the demons we see in clothing, standing upright and all that have swords and stuff. So there is a distinct difference here, and I just wonder if the writer was implying that the reason why the demons are so intelligent, why there's a big difference, is because they have been consuming the brains of humanity. Who knows? Anyways, though, with all that being said, let's talk about the actual major part of this chapter, and that is the kids getting away from the demon. So, more and more I see of this series, the more and more I continuously make the mistake that I keep thinking that these are normal kids. That's the mistake I keep having when I read this series, because at the end of the day, yes, they're kids, but they are way above normal kids. Not because of super strength or anything, it's just because these kids, the way they were raised, genetically engineered basically, they are way above their age. You might as well consider them adults in some cases because of the way they, act and think about certain things. And so because of that, we can look at it like this. The children, they're always surprising us because we view them like children. They look like children, and we, underestimate them. And that's what I have constantly been doing with this series. Even though it's point blank stated, don't underestimate them, they're really intelligent. It's funny that I continuously make that mistake, and they continuously show me that I shouldn't make that mistake. Like when they showcase their skills of running away from this demon, like they look at the demon, they start laughing like, oh, what do you think we've been doing for the past couple months? I mean, you think we've been sitting on our ass? No, obviously we know as the reader that they have been training, they've been doing drills and all that, trying to escape from the farm, and they expected demons to come after them. So they obviously were trying to figure out ways to kind of run away from these big creatures. So it makes sense that they would have experience with running away, splitting up into groups, navigating through the woods or whatever, because that's what they've been doing for a long time, trying to get away from creatures. So that right there, it just makes sense why they can do this, and it continuously surprises me with how this series can just do something like that. I continuously mistaken them for regular children, but then I'm like, oh yeah, they're really not regular children. They're actually these genetically engineered children that are way above adults. It blows my mind all the time. So yeah, much of this chapter was basically focused on that. The children showcasing their skills and that they will not go down that easy. And that is why it makes this escape so believable. Why it doesn't feel like it's an asshole. Why it doesn't feel like it's just being thrown there for plot convenience. It's because of how the upbringing of these children were in the first place. See, if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for the fact that these children have been raised to be very intelligent, way above normal children, but also haven't been training, I would call this a sack of bullshit, them constantly escaping from harm. I would say this is just outright bullshit at this point. But I can't say that because of the way the writing has been. So I just want to say, quick props to the writer of this series for making it very believable, and also making it to where I can understand how these children can escape from these creatures, because that's what they have been training for. But also they have their brains. They can easily outthink something that probably doesn't have a brain. So I like that. I do like that about this series. Anyways though, moving on, let's talk about the ending part of the chapter, and that is Ray coming face to face with one of the demons that are intelligent. The question is, what will happen next? Because the same methods that they were doing in this chapter might not work. I mean, they could run, they could try to go through, trees and stuff for cover, but the demon obviously is way more intelligent than the beast that was chasing them. So he'll realize what they're trying to do. He'll probably move in different ways that are more intelligent than how this creature was. And so they're not going to be able to use the exact same tactics. But on top of that, we could see that this demon has incredible strength and knowledge to use a sword. We see the demon use a sword and literally cut off the head of the other demon in the chapter. So it lets us know that this creature has insane speed, stuff that you can't even keep up with, but also tremendous strength. And that's not even including its height and all that. So when you look at all these things are stacked up against the children now. How can they get away from this monster? The only thing that comes to mind is what Ray had in his mind in the middle of this chapter, and what Emma and him were discussing. Basically, the entire part with, the plant. For instance, the floor falling in and caving in. That's where he was trying to lead the demon in the first place. He was trying to lead the demon into this pitfall. It falls down, and then, he can get away. That's what he was going to be doing. But, thanks to this demon intervening and all that, cutting the demon's head off, obviously that didn't get to happen, so Ray wasn't able to carry out his plan. So what I'm thinking here is most likely Ray, he's going to try to once again continuously lead this demon into that trap, the pitfall. Demon's going to fall in, and then Ray's going to be able to kind of get away. That's what I feel like is going to happen. However, we got to remember that these demons, they aren't dumb, so to say. I mean, they have a mind, obviously. They're intelligent. They can speak. They can use weapons. So they're not going to probably fall for the same tricks as maybe animals would do. And we also have to remember that this creature, this demon, knows about the environment. So there's a very likely chance that the demon knows what Ray might try to do. For instance, lead him into a trap where he falls down, and that's just not going to work out. Because if the demon's aware of this already, aware of the surroundings and everything, that's not going to be too good. So I do like how this is being set up. It makes it for a very interesting next chapter, because you don't know what could possibly happen. Will Ray get caught? Will the children get caught? Will someone die? Will the demon fall into the pitfall? There's a lot of questions I have, but that's what makes this manga series so good. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love you all so much. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.